Welcome to Little English Studio, the channel where we bring history, culture, and the wonders of our world to life in clear and simple English. Today, we are traveling back almost 2,000 years to a place where time suddenly stopped. It is a city frozen in ash, a city that tells us more about the Roman world than any book or scroll could ever reveal. This is the story of Pompeii, once alive with laughter, trade, and daily life, and then buried in a single day of fire and fury. Join us as we uncover the rise, the fall, and the rediscovery of this haunting city. Long before it became the most famous archaeological site in the world, Pompeii was simply a small settlement in southern Italy, located near the fertile plains of Campania. Its story begins centuries before the Romans, with the Oscans, an Italic tribe who lived in the region around the 8th century BC. The fertile volcanic soil around Mount Vesuvius was perfect for farming, and this drew early settlers who planted vines and olive trees, setting the foundation for Pompeii's agricultural wealth. Over time, Pompeii became a prize for larger powers. The Etruscans influenced the area in the 6th century BC, followed by the Greeks, whose colonies along the coast brought art, architecture, and trade. Later, the Samnites, another Italic people, took control and left their mark on the city. By the 4th century BC, Pompeii had already become a bustling town, with defensive walls, temples, and an identity that blended local traditions with Mediterranean influences. It was not until the 3rd century BC that Pompeii entered the orbit of Rome. After the Samnite Wars, the city became a Roman ally, but like many allies, it was drawn into conflict during the Social War of 91–88 BC. Pompeii resisted Rome, only to be besieged and conquered by the Roman general Sulla in 89 BC. Afterward, Pompeii was turned into a Roman colony, and Roman veterans settled there, reshaping its identity forever. From then on, Pompeii was a Roman city in every sense of the word. Latin became its main language, Roman laws governed its people, and Roman architecture transformed its streets. The Oscan, Greek, and Samnite layers of identity blended into one, giving Pompeii its unique cosmopolitan flavor. By the 1st century AD, it was a flourishing port city with around 12,000 to 15,000 inhabitants, merchants, farmers, artisans, slaves, nobles, and freedmen, all living in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, unaware of the danger looming above them. In the Roman world, Pompeii was more than just a provincial town. It was a jewel of Campania, strategically located along trade routes and blessed with extraordinary natural resources. Its fertile lands produced wine and olive oil that were exported across the empire. The nearby Sarno River allowed goods to flow in and out, while its proximity to the Bay of Naples gave it access to maritime trade. Wealth poured into the city, and its streets, houses, and public spaces reflected this prosperity. Walking through Pompeii in the 1st century AD would have been a sensory experience. The streets were paved with large stone blocks, with stepping stones allowing pedestrians to cross when rainwater or waste ran down the gutters. Chariots and carts clattered through the roads, leaving grooves in the stones that can still be seen today. Shops lined the streets, their counters open to passers-by, offering bread, wine, cheese, and hot meals for those who did not cook at home. At the heart of Pompeii stood the Forum, the city's main square. Surrounded by temples, government buildings, and markets, the Forum was the center of political, religious, and social life. Here, citizens gathered to hear speeches, conduct business, or participate in rituals. The Temple of Jupiter dominated one end, while other temples honored Venus, Apollo, and the Lares, the household gods. Pompeii was also a city of entertainment. It had a large amphitheater, one of the oldest surviving in the Roman world, capable of holding up to 20,000 spectators, more than the city's own population. Gladiatorial games, animal hunts, and other spectacles thrilled the crowds. Nearby, the Palestra provided a space for athletic training, while theaters hosted plays and musical performances. Art, sport, and drama filled the lives of Pompeii's people. The homes of Pompeii's wealthy citizens displayed luxury and refinement. Villas were decorated with frescoes, mosaics, and sculptures, often with courtyards and gardens. One of the most famous, the Villa of the Mysteries, contains enigmatic frescoes showing initiation rites into a mysterious cult, perhaps of the god Dionysus. These works of art were not just decorations, they were expressions of status, education, and cultural identity. Even the less wealthy lived in relative comfort compared to many parts of the empire. Apartment buildings housed artisans and traders, while taverns and inns offered spaces for relaxation. Bathhouses, supplied by aqueducts and heated by ingenious hypocaust systems, allowed people of all classes to enjoy warm baths, exercise, and social interaction. In many ways, Pompeii was a microcosm of Roman society, alive with the rhythms of daily life. Life in Pompeii was dynamic, colorful, and diverse. Imagine waking up in a modest house with painted walls, stepping outside to hear the shouts of vendors selling bread fresh from the ovens, the laughter of children playing, the smell of wine and spices drifting from taverns. Pompeii was not just stone and ash, it was people. The economy of Pompeii revolved around agriculture, trade, and craftsmanship. Vineyards covered the slopes of Mount Vesuvius, producing wines that were famous across the Mediterranean. Amphorae marked with the names of Pompeian vintners have been found as far away as Gaul. Olive oil, wool, and fish sauce garum were also major exports. Workshops produced pottery, metal goods, textiles, and jewelry. Markets bustled with activity, where locals bartered and bought everything from vegetables to exotic goods brought by merchants. Religion was deeply woven into daily life. Temples honored Roman gods, but household shrines called lareria kept the spirits of ancestors and protective deities close to every family. Festivals filled the calendar, with processions, sacrifices, and celebrations linking the community to the divine. Mystery cults, imported from Greece, Egypt, and the East, offered alternative spiritual experiences, appealing to those seeking deeper meaning. Pompeii was also a city of contrasts. Wealthy elites lived in opulent villas, while slaves worked in fields, kitchens, and workshops. Freedmen, former slaves who had gained their freedom, often became prosperous businessmen, carving out a new identity in Roman society. Women played active roles too, running businesses, managing households, and participating in religious life. Inscriptions and graffiti show that Pompeii was a city of many voices and political slogans. Love notes, jokes, and even complaints were scratched into walls, capturing the humor and frustrations of its people. But beneath this bustling life, Mount Vesuvius loomed silently. The people of Pompeii did not know it was a volcano. They saw it as a mountain that provided fertile soil, grapes, and olives. The memory of its eruptions had faded into myth. The stage was set for disaster, but no one in Pompeii could have imagined how quickly everything would change. The morning of August 24, 79 AD began like any other. The sun rose over the Bay of Naples, merchants opened their shops, children played in courtyards, and farmers tended to their fields. Life seemed ordinary, but deep within Mount Vesuvius, pressure had been building for centuries. On this day, the mountain awoke with terrifying force. Around midday, a massive eruption tore through the summit. A towering column of ash, pumice, and gas shot high into the sky, visible for miles. Pliny the Younger, a Roman writer who witnessed the event from across the bay, described it as a pine tree-shaped cloud, dark and filled with fire. Ash and pumice began raining down on Pompeii. At first, people may have thought it was a passing storm, but soon roofs began collapsing under the weight, streets filled with debris, and panic spread. Many fled, running toward the sea or along roads leading out of the city. But others stayed, seeking shelter in homes and temples, hoping the storm would pass. For hours, the rain of pumice continued, choking the air and plunging the city into darkness. Then, in the early hours of the next morning, the true horror arrived. The eruption unleashed pyroclastic surges, deadly clouds of superheated gas, ash, and rock that raced down the slopes of Vesuvius at incredible speeds. Pompeii was directly in their path. Buildings crumbled, fires spread, and those who had not escaped were overcome in seconds. By the time the eruption ended, Pompeii was buried under several meters of volcanic material. Thousands of people perished, their final moments preserved in the ash. The city, once vibrant with life, was silenced in less than 24 hours. For centuries, Pompeii lay hidden beneath the earth, forgotten by history. Farmers ploughed fields above it, unaware of the city below. Legends spoke of lost towns, but the memory of Pompeii faded. It was not until the 16th century that remains were stumbled upon during construction, though little attention was paid. Serious excavations began in the 18th century under the Bourbon kings of Naples. At first, the focus was on treasure hunting. Statues, jewels, and frescoes were taken for royal collections. But gradually, scholars realized that Pompeii was not just a source of art, it was a window into the past. Unlike other ruins, Pompeii was not destroyed slowly over time. It was frozen in a single moment. Streets, houses, even loaves of bread in ovens remained as they were on that fateful day. In the 19th and 20th centuries, archaeology at Pompeii became more systematic. Giuseppe Fiorelli, a pioneering archaeologist, introduced plaster casts by pouring liquid plaster into the voids left by decomposed bodies in the ash. The results were haunting, detailed forms of men, women, and children in their final poses, hands raised in protection, families huddled together, expressions of fear etched forever. Excavations revealed an entire city, villas with wall paintings, shops with counters still intact, theatres, temples, baths, and brothels. Graffiti offered personal voices, from political slogans supporting candidates to romantic notes and witty remarks. Pompeii was not just ruins, it was a living memory of Roman life captured in ash. What makes Pompeii extraordinary is the sheer amount of detail preserved. Archaeologists found carbonized bread, nuts, and fruits, giving direct evidence of Roman diets. Tools, pottery, lamps, and jewelry revealed craftsmanship. Frescoes depicted gods, myths, and daily life, showing us how Romans decorated their homes. The city also offered insights into Roman society. The brothel with explicit frescoes showed the accepted place of sex work. Amphitheaters and theaters illustrated entertainment. Temples and shrines spoke of diverse religious practices. Even the graffiti revealed humor, politics, and personal drama. Perhaps most powerful are the plaster casts of the victims. These haunting forms remind us that behind every ruin were real people. Their final moments tell stories of families, slaves, merchants, and children caught in tragedy. Pompeii also held mysteries. Some frescoes hinted at secret cults. Strange architectural details suggested experimental designs. The study of volcanic deposits revealed clues about the eruption itself, helping modern volcanology. In many ways, Pompeii is not just history, it is science, art, and humanity combined. Pompeii is more than ruins. It is a lesson about nature's power, the fragility of life, and the resilience of memory. The eruption destroyed a city, yet it also preserved it, giving us an unparalleled record of the Roman world. It shows us the richness of Roman culture, their food, art, humor, and struggles. It warns us of the dangers of ignoring nature, for Mount Vesuvius is still active today with millions living nearby. It also speaks to the universality of human experience. The people of Pompeii laughed, loved, worked, and dreamed, just as we do. Their sudden end reminds us to cherish the present. Today, Pompeii is one of the most visited archaeological sites in the world, attracting millions of tourists every year. Walking through its streets, you can step into the past, see the ruts of ancient carts, the frescoes on villa walls, the amphitheater that once echoed with cheers. Preservation remains a challenge. Weather, pollution, and tourism threaten the fragile remains. UNESCO and Italian authorities continue to protect and restore the site. Despite these challenges, Pompeii continues to inspire wonder. It is not just a ruin, it is a dialogue between past and present. For historians, archaeologists, and visitors, Pompeii is a reminder that time can be stopped, memory can be preserved, and stories can be told even after 2,000 years. And that was the story of Pompeii, the city frozen in time, destroyed in a day yet preserved for eternity. From its humble beginnings to its Roman glory, from the day of doom to its rediscovery, Pompeii teaches us about life, death, and history in ways no other place can. Thank you for watching this episode of Little English Studio. If you enjoyed this journey through Pompeii, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of world wonders, history, and culture, told in clear and simple English. See you in the next video.